Yeah. And so it must be there for a reason. I mean, after millions of years of evolution, there must be a reason why we have regret. Did you? I mean, I obviously read your book, so
Absolutely.
I know you found the reason, but maybe can you quickly summarize it
But
for
Nick,
us?
this is actually a really important point. Okay. And what we have to understand is that regret, there are two things that seem to be contradictory. One of them is that regret is one of the most common emotions that human beings experience. We know from these different bodies of science that we know from social psychology, for instance, it's one of the most common emotions that human beings experience. It's arguably the most common negative emotion that human beings experience. All right, so we know that from developmental psychologists that it is a part of our cognitive development. That is, little kids can't experience regret because their brains haven't developed the dexterity or the sophistication to do the kind of time travel that I was just suggesting, where you go back in time and then forward in time. But we know from neuroscience that certain people cannot experience regret, and the reason they can't experience regret is they literally have physiological problems with their brain, lesions in a certain part of the brain called the orbital frontal
Whoa.
cortex, certain kinds of Huntington's disease, certain kinds of Parkinson's disease. And so, exactly as you say, it's part of our cognitive machinery. Now, here's the thing: regret feels terrible. I don't like experiencing regret. You asked me about my regrets and some of my regrets. I don't like them. It doesn't make me feel good. And so, so your question that you're posing, Nick, is the central question. Why would something so unpleasant be so ubiquitous? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason, and this is at the core of all of it, is because regret is useful if we treat it right. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is we haven't been treating it right. So especially here in America, we have this philosophy that a lot of people adhere to of no regrets. I never look backward, I always look forward. I'm never negative, I'm always positive. That is a bad idea. That is a unscientific recipe for living a good life. So ignoring our regrets is a bad idea, but also wallowing in our regrets, stewing in our regrets, getting captured by our regrets,
Mm-hmm.
that's really bad too. What we want to do is we want to confront our regrets, think about our regrets, use our regrets as signal, as information, as data. We want to think about our regrets. And when we do that, once again, we have evidence that it can be a powerful emotion. It can help us do better on a whole range of tasks. It can help us find greater meaning in life. It can help us think more clearly. So the central kind of riddle here that you've identified is that we have this emotion that makes us feel bad, and yet it's widespread, and so it is there for a reason. And if
Mm-hmm.
we acknowledge that instead of denying it and actually take a new approach to our regrets, we can enlist this emotion to lead a better life.